Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody, man. I want to welcome you guys back to the Conversation 9-8. Got another day, another episode. Truly excited about coming on here tonight. It won't be, just another episode, another week, and another topic, man. I hope all is well. I hope everything is going well with everybody, man. My prayer is that all is well. Even if it's not well, my prayer is that, things will get better. And I pray for your strength. And I pray that not only strength, I pray that, things do like that you get your breakthrough, that your breakthrough is on the way. But man, thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Again, we got another week, another episode, and I look forward to having the conversation tonight. And, just like always, this is an interactive conversation. So feel free to chime in, feel free to come in, feel free to comment, share, whatever. Hey, whatever you got, man, I hope you guys enjoy this. Sharing this with a few people, and man, we're gonna get on with it. We're gonna get on with the conversation for tonight. But man, I'm just happy and got a chance to see my grandkids this weekend. So excited about that. And with all of that, man, I just living life, taking life one day at a time, getting settled at the new location. Meeting new people, excited about that, and I'm excited about what's about to happen. But all in all, man, in a creative space, get back in the studio, some new music coming soon. Just excited and happy about that. But man, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know where you're watching from. Feel free to comment, interactive conversation for tonight. And with all that being said, man, we're gonna get right on to it because tonight episode is gonna be a real good one. And tonight episode, we're talking about sometimes you have to learn to give yourself permission to choose you. And in a very interesting conversation I had with my mom, as I live life, man, what I realize is that sometimes in life we get so caught up with just living. And we get so caught up with our responsibilities. We get caught up with fulfilling roles that we have and roles that we embody and things. And even some of those roles we embody, we really, really enjoy because it gives us joy. But a lot of times we end up losing ourselves and we feel like we don't have permission, or we feel bad about choosing you. And I'm not saying choosing you for the sake of you being selfish at the expense of other people. What I am speaking on is I'm talking about learning to give yourself permission that it's okay to choose you. It's okay to choose you in situations, because guess what? In order for you to recharge, in order for you to get better, you're going to have to choose you so that you can pour into yourself. You're going to have to learn to do that. And I know it can be hard. And I'm saying that from a space where, and I'm speaking to a lot of us, man, because one thing about it, it is a very true statement. But so many times we get caught up in life, living life. We get caught up in the role of being a husband, being a father, being a mother, being a wife, being a grandmother, being dependable, being at we're dependable at the church. We're dependable in our organizations that we're a part of. And we get caught up and we get wrapped up into it. And a lot of our identity or our self-worth, or not even just so much self-worth, but a lot of fulfillment come out of embodying and fulfilling those roles. But in the midst of doing all of that, we lose ourselves. And then what happens is we start to operate on autopilot. And when we get in operating an autopilot, that can become scary. And the reason why it can become scary is because on autopilot, it's almost like they're driving and you're moving along and life is passing you by. And you're not giving yourself enough time to choose you. And then you'll wake up one day and you're sitting around and trying to figure out what's going on. And the reality is you lost yourself because you didn't choose yourself. You lost yourself because you didn't choose yourself. Hey, we got some people, man. What's up? What's up, Leandrew? Hey, thanks for tuning in, brother. Appreciate it. Flo, what's up, man? Guy, how you doing, man? Hey, thanks for tuning in down in Florida. What's up, Uncle? Uncle Charles, how you doing? Love you, Uncle Wayne. Appreciate you, man. Really do. But yeah, many times we lose ourselves with that. And it's okay to give yourself permission to choose you. And yes, Flo said it. He said it takes practice. It's something that we try and fail at a lot because we are so in tune with doing for others before ourselves. And I'm glad you brought it up because that goes right into what I really wanted to talk about next. Because it does. it will take practice and take some effort, deliberate effort in getting used to choosing you. And like I said before, choosing you at the expense of yourself is selfless. Choosing you at the expense of others is selfish. And that's the difference, right? And that's the conflict that many of us have, because we fight that, because we feel like, oh, if I'm choosing myself in this moment, then I'm being selfish. No, you're not being selfish if it's at the expense of yourself. So the key is for you to learn and be deliberate about, hey, you know what? I'm going to choose me with this. And choosing you is just simply saying, you know, sometimes just learning to say no to people. Choosing you is sometimes saying, hey, I'm going to do this because I want to do it, not me deferring to my kids, not me deferring to my spouse, not me deferring to other people that I genuinely care about. I'm going to do this because that's something I want to do. And yes, I understand that's a hard feeling. That can be hard. That can be overwhelming, but it's so necessary to learn to do that. Because the thing about it is, when we learn to give yourself permission and learn to choose you, you will find life to be a lot more fulfilling, and you will find life to be less draining for you. Because choosing, getting that, being able to learn to choose yourself, it keeps you at a balance. It keeps you balanced. And because many times what happens is when we operate and we're always giving, especially if you're a natural giver, you're always pouring into other people. But really the question began, who's pouring into you? And many of us that are natural givers, we become frustrated because we're always pouring into other people, but we never seem to get back what we pouring into others. And a lot of that is because it is on us. We're the ones that's unbalanced. Yes, our natural nature to pour into others and be there for others, that is nothing wrong with that. But it is something that we are responsible for being able to choose ourselves so that we can maintain and manage ourselves. That is so key. And I understand that is one of the hardest things to do. That is by far one of the hardest things to do. And I know many people don't like to talk about it, but it is what it is. One of the hardest things for us to do is learn to manage ourselves. And that's managing our emotions. That's managing our highs and our lows. That's managing our expectations. That's managing the things that we like and dislike. And that's learning how to manage that and with life and balance that with life. You know, life is about balance, and balance doesn't mean equality. You know, balanced life means more about equity, and you have to start looking at it. Hey, at what level do I choose myself? Choosing myself don't mean you have to neglect anybody else. That doesn't automatically mean you're neglecting somebody else if you're choosing yourself. Choosing yourself is simply saying, hey, I'm learning to give myself permission to choose me. And choosing me sometimes say, hey, I'm gonna take a nap. Choosing me sometimes say, hey, I'm going to take myself out. Choosing me and saying, I'm going to treat myself to this because I've been working hard doing that. And that's simply what it really boiling down to. Not you choosing yourself to neglect others. Flo said this. He said, sometimes we can help ourselves learn to say no in situations that frequent our lives where we usually say yes to. Prepare others that the next time that particular situation comes about, I will say no. All we have to do is say no and watch the reaction. That is, Flo, man, you're spot on. You are spot on. And the reason why you're spot on is because one of the key things in learning to choose yourself is conditioning yourself and getting used to saying no to people. Just simply getting used to telling people no, I'm not going to do that. You know, it's funny. People will call you and always seem to call you and ask you for money. And when you say no, you don't hear from them again. Or people always, they know they can, and there's nothing wrong with you being dependable. But sometimes if you don't feel like doing it, or it's taking you out of space where you just don't feel like it, say no. Say no. And that's choosing you. And that's learning to choose you. And I would tell you, you'll realize the value of what you bring. And what happens is, if you never learn to say no, people will begin to devalue your yes. But I'm telling you, if you never learn to say no, people will begin to devalue your yes, because they would know that they can always depend on your yes, and they will begin to not respect the value of it. They will begin not to respect the value of it because it becomes second nature. Oh, I know. Oh, okay, yeah, I can. Shut. Boom. I know I can depend on him. And Miss Valeda said, "Why do we feel guilty when we choose ourselves over others?" You know, Miss Page Bank, that's a good question, and I think a lot of the times when we feel guilty when we choose others over ourselves is because we have lost ourselves in saying yes. And we can get lost in saying yes. We can get lost in fulfilling and embodying roles that we truly value, that bring us a lot of joy. Many of us love being mom. Many of us love being dad. Many of us love being grandma, granddaddy, love being husband, love being wife, love being fulfilling those roles as being dependable. But at the same point, just because you love fulfilling those roles, you still cannot forget you. Don't get lost in saying yes. That doesn't mean that you don't say yes to others, but we have to be careful not to lose ourselves in always saying yes. Because what I've learned over the last few years, I've learned the value of my no and said, no, I'm not going to do that. And really, hey, if I choose to do something, that's something I do, because I realized many people did not value my yes. They did not value my yes. And that's not, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying that that's something on them or and people using this. And I want to bring some really want to bring some clarity to that so we can have an understanding. But sometimes people don't value your yes, and it's not because they don't so much appreciate you or have taken you for granted. It's just they've become so used to it. So the yes is almost like when you get used to having money, when you get used to something, it becomes second nature. And it's a different thing when before you didn't have it. When you got it, you valued it. But once you got it and it's always there, you tend to not recognize and the value of what you have. And that is what I was saying with that. And you have to be able to understand that not just because you always had something, you have to be delivered about how grateful you are towards it. And that's something that a lot of people forget, and they lose that. They lose that gratefulness because it's always there. That's why you have to be deliberate about being grateful. You have to. Ant said, you have to choose yourself sometimes because no one else would choose to help you if you keep saying yes. They won't stop. Yes. Yes, because listen, some people, and this one thing that I had to learn. This is a good one. Some people aren't takers. And a lot of times we classify people as takers, but sometimes as givers, people aren't just there taking from us. We're the ones offering it, and they just benefiting from it. So if you're giving it out freely, how can you be mad at them for them taking it? They weren't trying to use you. You were just giving it. So you got to learn how to set boundaries for yourself. That's why I say you have to learn how to say no. You got to learn the value of your no, the value of your yes by saying no. You got to realize, hey, that person wasn't using me. That person was just benefiting from me freely giving. So it's not like they tried to scam me. It's not like they tried to get over on me. I was the one that was choosing to give. So that was me. And that was me. That fell on me. That didn't fall on anybody else. And because that fell on somebody else, I can't get mad at that. And by me getting mad at that, if I choose to get mad at that, I have to be accountable for me. I have to be accountable for my role. I have to be accountable. And that's something that I have to do. And I can't do that. And me trying to put that on somebody else. Listen, that is 100% on me. That is 100% on me. And that's something, man, I tell you, man, what I be about, and when I say sometimes you have to learn, and what I'm saying with that, I want us really to sit down and think about that, because it's true, right? In learning to give yourself permission or learning to choose you can be hard for many of us, because we feel like choosing ourselves is neglecting somebody else. And that's not true. That's not true at all. You know, if you're a mom, listen, I did a single parent thing for a while, and I realized, like, dang, it's a lot that go into that. And what happens is many of us don't even realize we go into survival mode in those situations, just trying to make it happen and get through the day. And we'll look up, and dang, 10 years later, yeah, we done made sure the kids grew up, but we have neglected ourselves, severely neglected ourselves, and never learned to give ourselves permission to choose us. And now we wake up and we look back and we like, dang, now I got to try to live my life all of the years that I missed because I didn't give myself permission to choose me in those situations. And when I learned to give myself permission, I realized that's what my freedom is. It's freedom in that. It's freedom in learning to choose you. I'm telling you, it's freedom. Listen, and there's something about that, and we just have to sit down and think about it. But I tell you, when you learn to choose yourself, when you learn to choose you, what you will start to realize is you learn how much freedom you gain back and how much peace you gain in those situations, because you'll learn what your worth is and your value. And I'm not talking about your worth being based off of an inflated sense of self. I'm talking about your worth with who you are and what you bring to other people and what you bring to yourself. Like, seriously, when the last time you literally celebrated yourself? When the last time you really sat down and patted yourself on the back? When the last time you gave yourself permission to enjoy yourself, just enjoy the fruits of your labor? And I'm not just talking material things, but I'm talking about just simply enjoying you, just simply enjoying the things about you and getting to know you to the point to where you can embrace you. And that is what I'm talking about, where freedom comes in. That's where the freedom comes in. Ms. Paige Banks said, people sometimes seem to look at you a different way because you choose yourself. And listen, I'll tell you like this. This is something that I learned, and as I'm growing as a person, you know, I could seriously care less if you start to feel some type of way, if I start choosing me or if I start saying no. Because the people that get upset, the people that get mad at you when you say no, when you learn to say no, those are the people that knew that they was getting over on you. And they're just mad because they don't have the same level of access that they did before. People who truly care about you, who truly have your best interests at heart, will celebrate you or make sure that you're choosing you because they understand the value of that. And shout out to my son, my son Robert. I always say, Dad, what do you do for yourself? What are you doing for yourself? And it took me a while to think about it. I'd just be like, oh, I ain't really got nothing planned. I ain't really care about it. But then I was like, man, you know what? Hey, I'm going to celebrate me. I'm going to start taking me some trips. I'm going to start doing these things just for me. Because guess what? I deserved it. And then guess what? It's at my expense, so it ain't at nobody's expense. So I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me. And you can feel, listen, I can care less if you mad because you feeling some type of way because I'm choosing me. You know what's funny? You ain't feeling the same. This is this right here. And I'm glad you brought that up, Miss Paige Bank. But the same people that get upset at you because you choosing yourself, it's funny they never get upset when you choose to help them. They never get upset when they can depend on you. They never consider what it costs and what did you have to sacrifice to help them. They never consider none of that. So the reason why they mad is because they were just in it for themselves. And they was in it to look out for what they can get. And that's what they looking for. And that's what a lot of people look for. And that's what they is. And I'll tell you, you'll find out who really rock with you when you start saying no. You'll start to realize your circle will get a lot smaller when you start saying no. And that's when you'll realize who were really there for you in the first place. That's when you realize who rocking with you. That's when you realize who have your back. That's when you really realize who has your best interest, when you start saying no. Because when you start saying no, that's when you really have people to start to look out for you. Because until you say no, everybody assume that you good. Miss Paige Banks said, Robert, I remember years ago, my mom asked me, when are you going to put yourself first? I had to be forced to choose myself because at a point in time, I put everybody before me. Yeah, that is a great question. That is a great question. Shout out to your mom. Beautiful lady. Beautiful lady. Shout out to your mom for that. But that's a good question. And the question is, when are you going to choose yourself? When are you going to stop putting other people before you? I am not saying that you neglect people, neglect your responsibilities. That is not what I'm advocating for. I'm not talking about you just, just abandoning everybody. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But when are you going to choose yourself? It's okay. You didn't put a lot of people forward. A lot of us, you didn't raise generations. You didn't raise generations. You've been the person dependable in the neighborhood. You've been this person. You've been that person. When are you going to choose you? When are you going to start doing things for yourself? Because I would tell you, the same people that you sacrifice for, many times you can go to them and ask them for things and they will quickly tell you no, but they can always depend on your yes. That's why it is so important that you start choosing yourself, because life is too short. We don't know the day nor the hour. So you better start celebrating you and choosing you and enjoying life to the fullest. Enjoying life to the fullest. Listen, I'm telling you, life is way too short for us not to do that. And one of the things I'm telling you, man, like this thing can get to a space to where, and I know a lot of times we can feel like it, and that's something that really pulls at us. But man, learn to choose you. Choose you. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Choose yourself, because choosing you can be some of the most freeing and best thing you can do for you. I hope you guys had a great and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, man. The night conversations has been a blessing to me, been blessed my spirit. I'm learning to choose me. I really am. I'm learning to choose me. I'm learning to choose me, and it's good. It's scary because it's new, but it's good. It's good to choose myself. It's good to say, hey, I'm doing this just for me. It's good to say that, because I make sure everybody else, man, listen, if you are a person that always making sure everybody else, yes, is fulfilled, everybody, or you're providing things for other people. I mean, if you are that person that always look out for others' well-being, ask yourself this: who is really looking out for you? And I will tell you, many of us have been that person so much that we always looking out for other people that it's even foreign to us when somebody else look out for us. It feels strange. And you should not live life like that. What you pouring out into others, you should at least have somebody pouring into you, or you pouring back into yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so many of us, we've been pouring from an empty cup, pouring into other people that would not even put back an ounce back into us when we've been pouring gallons into them. So choose yourself. Choose yourself for the best interest of yourself, so that you can be a better you. So you can be a better you. Man, I'm telling you, this thing is powerful. I learned it, I lived it, and I appreciate it, and I'm growing from it every day. And I realize, like, choosing me, I'm not neglecting anybody. Choosing me, I'm not neglecting anybody. Choosing me, I'm learning to be grateful for what I actually have, and really appreciate what I actually have. I'm learning to clear a lot of things out of my life, clear a lot of clutter out of my life. One thing about it, what I like about it in the military is that we move a lot. And one of the things when we move a lot, there's some things and there's some lessons that are learned from it. But a lot of times when you move and you realize the things that you have, one thing you realize is you gain a lot of clutter. And there's a lot of things that we have, and there's a lot of things that we hold on to in a lot of areas in our life because we have the space for it. And that's why I love what God do. Sometimes God put us in spaces, in smaller spaces, so that we have to prioritize what we can keep and what we can't keep. And in that prioritization, you start to realize what's really valuable to you. So those things, and one of the things that I want us to understand in our lives, some of us, we need to downsize. We got too much stuff. We hold on to too much stuff. We need to downsize, and we'll start to see the things that we really value. Because some people just like the fact that you have it. Some people like the fact that they can associate with you. Some people like the fact that they can depend on your yes. But those same people, how many of those same people are looking out for you, pouring into you, making sure you straight? So make sure you straight by choosing you. Hey, man, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me tonight. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful weekend. Looking forward to having a blessed week. Hey, man, just love on people, treat people good. treat people good. Because some people would benefit from you and live their life to the fullest and would not care nothing about you. So choose you. You guys have a blessed and wonderful week. Share this with somebody. Hey, go check me out on social media at the Conversation 98 on YouTube, the Conversation 98 on here, at the Conversation _98 on TikTok. And man, hey, make sure y'all share that. Go subscribe, share that, do all of that, whatever it is, man. You guys have a blessed and wonderful week. God bless.